Hello, Chair.
Yes.
We're just waiting for at least one more person to have a quorum.
Okay. Thank you.
I'll let you know. Thank you very much.
Hi, this is Sasha from Chandler. My name on Zoom is showing up as, because I'm on my phone right now, it's showing up as Jolie Salego, but that's Sasha Pachito from Chandler. I'm trying to change it once I get back to my desk. So I don't know if that makes your quorum change at all.
It does. It does. Thank you so much.
All right. Yeah, I'm going to try logging on to my desk.
Okay, great.
Thank you.
Chair, we do have a quorum if you'd like to start the meeting.
Okay, thank you very much. Good afternoon, members of the MAG Active Transportation Committee, and welcome to the February 21st, 2023 meeting. As a reminder, please turn your microphone on and clearly state your name before speaking to ensure that members of the audience can hear you, and please mute your mic when you are not speaking to eliminate any feedback noise. Since this is a virtual meeting, a roll call vote will be taken for each action item on the agenda. As a reminder, if you have phoned in, you will need to press *6 to unmute yourself. And please remember to mute yourself after that. I do have one small announcement to welcome our new member from ADOT, Elaine Mariol. She is not attending today, but she's been in the last several meetings. So we look forward to seeing her next time and hearing a little bit about her. We look forward to working with her with ADOT. We will now begin the meeting with a roll call of all members. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. I will begin roll call. Grant Anderson.
Here.
Thank you. Marielle Brown.
Here.
Stephen Chang.
Here.
Susan Conclu.
Here.
Sasha Pachito, proxy for Jason Crampton.
Here.
Thank you. Stephen Esther.
I'm here.
Thank you. Allison Feliz.
Here.
Brandon Forey. Nina Arredondo for Tara Harmon.
Here.
Thank you. Greg McDowell for Reed Kempton.
Here.
Thank you. Daniel Loftus. Jose Macias.
Here.
Thank you. Christine McMurdy.
Here.
Mark Millstone.
Here.
Thank you. Randy Proch.
This is Sean Bonda. I'm proxy for Randy Broach.
Thank you. Earl Ratledge.
Here.
Thank you. Patrick Sage.
Here.
Kelsey Shatnick.
Here.
Ward Stanford.
Here.
Thank you. And Garrett Topham.
Here.
Justin Weldy.
Present.
Thank you. And Nathan Williams, I know he said he might have technical difficulties. He may or may not be here.
I'm here. I think I got it figured out. Thanks,
excellent. Kay. Thank you.
Okay.
And Robert Yabez.
Here.
Thank you. That completes roll call.
Thank you. Item number 2, call to the audience. An opportunity for public comment on the agenda was provided ahead of the meeting. MAG staff, have we received any public comments?
I apologize. I was on
That's
mute.
okay.
Thank you, Chair. No, we have no public comments.
Okay, thanks. I thought you were pausing for effect or something, and I was like, ooh, let's get ready. You never know.
No.
Okay. Item number 3, transportation staff report. Kay Bork, transportation planning project manager, will provide a report to the Active Transportation Committee.
Thank you, Chair and members of the Active Transportation Committee. I actually do not have any updates.
Okay, thank you.
Mhm.
We do have one item on the consent agenda, which is item 4A, approval of the January 17, 2023 meeting minutes. Before I ask for a motion, does anyone have any edits or clarifications? Seeing none, and I know everyone read them very thoroughly. Do we have a motion to approve?
Anderson, I so move.
Okay, thank you, Grant. Do we have a second?
Robert Yaba, second.
Okay, thank you. Kay will do a roll call vote of everyone participating. Please indicate how you vote.
Grant Anderson,
Aye.
Mariel Brown,
Yes.
Stephen Chang,
Aye.
Susan Conclu,
Yes.
Sasha Pachito,
Yes.
Stephen Esther.
Aye.
Allison Feliz.
Yes.
Thank you. Brandon Forey. Nina Arredondo.
Yes.
Greg McDowell.
Yes.
Thank you. Jose Macias.
Yes.
Christine McMurdy.
Aye.
Mark Millstone.
Aye.
Sean Banda.
Aye.
Earl Rutledge.
Aye.
Patrick Sage.
Aye.
Kelsey Shatnick.
Aye.
Stanford.
Did you say Ward Stanford?
Yes, I did.
Aye.
Thank you. Garrett Topham.
Yes.
Justin Weldy.
Yes.
Nathan Williams.
Aye.
And Robert Yabez.
Aye.
Is there anyone I didn't call? Thank you, and the motion passes.
Thank you. Next item on the agenda, number 5, updates to the MAG Regional Competitive Program Design Assistance Evaluation process. This item will be presented by Kay Bork, MAG Transportation Planning Project Manager, and Kara Nasser, Transportation Planner.
Thank you, Chair and members of the Active Transportation Committee. For this next agenda item, staff will be presenting the updated revisions to the design assistance scoring questions based on the feedback we received from the committee at last month's meeting. At that meeting, staff presented several scoring questions and revisions for your feedback. This item is on the agenda for action for recommended approval. And with this timeline, this will enable the policy committee to review and approve any recommended revisions in time for the implementation for the fiscal year 2024 Design Assistance Program call for projects. We are anticipating the fiscal year 2024 call for projects to open for submittals on or near June 1st. Kara will be presenting the updated revisions in more detail, and these are also outlined in your transmittal summary and the attached proposed scoring matrix. And with that, I would like to turn it over to Kara for her presentation.
Thank you, Kay, Chair Conclu, members of the Active Transportation Committee. So glad to be back this month with some revisions that we did based on the feedback that we received last month. So we can get into it. Next slide, please. So I just wanted to provide a quick refresher on the design assistance background. This program was established in 1996 to support the implementation of bike and ped facilities in our region. We issue a competitive call for projects each year for funding of preliminary engineering and design of active transportation projects that contribute to our interconnected regional network. That's $500,000 each year that's programmed annually for regional outcomes, enhancing mobility, improving our air quality, things like that. And projects are technically scored and evaluated by you all, and ultimately the funding is awarded by our MAG Regional Council. Next slide, please. So I'm going to start with the questions that we made some revisions to, and as we go through later on, if you guys have questions or you want to revisit anything, we can certainly do that. So the first question we are proposing some modifications to is question 3. This project serves the region. It was worth 20 points. The feedback that we heard from you last month is that there is a lack of clarity in how a project may serve the region, and some concerns that outlying communities don't have the same opportunities to implement projects that have regional impact. So we're actually proposing to remove this question and then reallocate the points to question 1, and question 10 would just be maintained. These questions focus on regional intent. So we think by doing this, we can still capture regional intent. Next slide, please. So question 1, this project meets the intent of the design assistance program. We had initially proposed this for 12 points. And we, again, just as a reminder, we propose adding an interval scale based on the MAG Active Transportation Plan guiding principles, which are equity and inclusion, connectivity, safety, and comfort. This reflects action that the MAG Regional Council has taken on our plan, and it grounds the intent of the program in this policy. So we're proposing to modify the weight here to 20 points to increase opportunities for projects to gain points for these regional principles. Again, a reallocation from question 3, which was proposed to be removed. Next slide, please. I'll also give you a refresher on the nuances of these guiding principles. Just to get this in everyone's mind again, we see that a lot of the projects that have been submitted in the past are already actually doing a lot of these things. So it's a nice way for more points to be generated. And so we'll start with connectivity, enhancing connectivity across the system and between modes, things like facilitating short trips, closing gaps, providing direct transitions, and facilitating connections with other modes. Increasing safety for cyclists and pedestrians, minimizing conflicts between roadway users, providing safe crossings, delineating space for active transportation users, and providing consistent design. Next slide, please. So comfort is building more high comfort networks, things like providing separation between modes, making things more intuitive, providing thermal comfort, and equity and inclusion, enhancing options, access, and benefits to underserved populations, enhancing travel options and access to basic services and amenities and opportunities, increasing or incorporating universal access principles, and providing more opportunities for people to, particularly those experiencing inequitable health outcomes, to integrate activity into their lives. Next slide, please. So here is the proposed scoring for question 1. This project meets the intent of the design assistance program. So again, we're recommending bumping it up to 20 points, which would give equal 5 points to each principal. And again, that scoring goes meets all for the top tier, meets many, meets a few, or does not meet. Next slide, please. Question 10, this project is in the active transportation plan, worth 10 points and automatically scored. This remains unchanged from prior years. So we have yes, completes a segment of a regional conduit or tier 1 or tier 2 complete corridor as described and identified in the plan. That's an automatic 10 points, or it does not. So to pull this all together, again, we're proposing to remove question 3 based on your feedback. And by retaining this question and reallocating the points to question 1, we adequately capture regional intent while providing more opportunity for projects to earn points for regional outcomes, even if they're not one of these regional conduits or tier 1 or 2 corridors. Next slide, please. Thank you. So the next question we're proposing making some changes to is question 6. This project benefits populations of interest. That's families in poverty, elderly populations, youth, minority, and households with no vehicle. This question is worth 8 points. The feedback that we heard from you all last month was that there was concern over the proposed point reduction to 8 points. It was noted that this does not reflect the federal intent, which has had more of a focus on equity lately and these types of populations. And also that there is a lack of clarity in how these projects can benefit these populations and differences in the types of responses that we were getting, which could make it a little bit hard to score. So we're proposing to auto-score this question based on the Title VI Communities of Concern Demographic Profile methodology. The Title VI communities are identified by the federal government, so this kind of anchors that back nicely into something that's being done at the federal level. And the methodology there is to look at the percentage of the population that exists in a given area and then see if it's equal or greater to that number. So in our case for this scoring, it would be looking at the MAG planning area as a whole. We will be generating, pulling those numbers and doing a comparison for each of these populations. We are also proposing to modify the weight back to the original 20 points. Next slide. So this is the breakdown of what this would look like. And you can see we had 5 populations of interest. So we propose to break those equally into points. And again, the points would be awarded automatically if the project showed that it was equal to or greater than the average for that population for the MAG planning area. And again, that's families in poverty, elderly populations, youth, minorities, and zero vehicle households. Next slide, please. Thank you. Finally, this is the last question that we're proposing some changes to based on your feedback last month. This project addresses bicycle pedestrian vehicle safety conflicts. It's worth 15 points. The feedback we heard from you all last month was that not all local agencies have the resources or local studies to provide recommendations. And there was some concern over the overlap between this question and the safety principle in question 1. So we're proposing to modify the first scoring tier to accept demonstrated data and analysis, as well as a recommendation from a safety study. And I also wanted to address the second feedback point there and just pointing out the difference between the questions. So the intent of this question is to demonstrate that there is a safety need if there's a known safety issue. And this can be, from a variety of sources, if it's coming from the public or documented in some other way. If there's a known safety issue that's being addressed, this question really gets at the intent of addressing that. And our safety principle in question 1 is more intended to ensure that projects are being designed with safety in mind versus addressing a specific issue. Next slide, please. So this is, again, just what the breakdown looks like. We've bolded the top scoring tier because it's the only one that's changed a little bit. Again, we've just modified the language to include demonstrated data and analysis, as well as it's an and/or option for that recommendation from a previous study. Next slide, please. So here is the updated existing and proposed scoring matrix, just so you can see a side-by-side comparison. The questions that have changes to them are indicated in that light teal color. So again, we are proposing increasing the points for question 1, getting rid of question 3 altogether, and then maintaining the 20 points for question 6, but moving to an auto scoring on that one. And so the total points for the applications can receive would be 100 overall. You can see on the total score on the bottom right. Next slide, please. So I just wanted to again go over the intent of these changes. Really, at the end of the day, we're trying to make your jobs easier and bring a little more clarity, transparency, predictability to this process overall. We want to balance your technical insights and discretion, but strengthen the guidance and help make the scoring more efficient. We know this takes a lot of time. So hopefully this is something that helps this process for all of you. At the end of the day, we really want to increase reliability and predictability of this process, drive better outcomes, and maximize the benefits of the design assistance program, and ultimately strengthen our federally required performance-based project evaluation process. Next slide, please. So as Kay mentioned, we are hoping to get this through committee in time for the June 1st call for projects when it opens. So this is just a high-level outline of what the schedule could look like. Changes are, again, as always, pending regional council approval. Next slide. This is on your agenda today for information, discussion, or possible action to recommend approval of revisions to the design assistance evaluation process. Next slide. Thanks so much, Chair Conclu, members of the Active Transportation Committee. Excited to present this one to you today and looking forward to your thoughts and feedback and questions if you have any.
Thank you. Do we have any comments, questions, or feedback for MAG staff?
Anderson, I have a question.
Okay.
On question 6, you indicate that it would be automatically scored, and so we don't have to score it. How do you find out how many households don't have vehicles?
Yes, so this is slide 4, I think. Or sorry, I'm trying to give some direction here to pull that back up for you guys.
And I believe that comes from census data or the American Community Survey, because there's a way to get
yes,
what was reported anyway, brings all of these pieces into the data.
Yes, Chair Conclu, members of the Active Transportation Committee, Grant, thanks for the question. These are rooted in our ACS data that's updated every couple years, I believe. So we pull it directly from there. This is also available on the MAG website, I believe.
Thank you.
Yep.
Do we have any others? Please raise your hand, or if there's not multiple hands raised, you can just go ahead and give your name.
Ward Stanford with Avondale. A question on the connectivity aspect. Is the connectivity being viewed as a making connections between some existing trails, direct connections, or is it also connectivity maybe as a trail enters a neighborhood or into a commercial area or passes adjacent to either, that there's connectivities made in there, or even within those adjacent locations that barriers in those, say, retail or commercial development has their own, this company or retail establishment has curbs all the way around it, so you can't pass from one business to the next without still going back out onto a street. What's the extent of connectivity viewed at in this review or in this active transportation characteristic?
Yes, thank you for the question, Chair Conklin, members of the Active Transportation Committee. I'm going to ask Jeremy to go to slide 5 while I also talk through this. But a lot of the scoring has been discretionary up until this point. We are attempting to maintain some of that discretion while also giving, some guidance. And so I think, this comes down to a discretionary call, and a lot of it is in the narrative and in the way the individual who's doing the application will fill that out. At the end of the day, it's up to your discretion if you feel that it meets, all or a few or many. But I think from our perspective, it is connectivity on all these different kind of levels, and facilitating short trips, like you mentioned, connecting to, maybe an activity center, that certainly falls under that. Closing gaps, it could be between neighborhoods in this case. Providing seamless transitions, removing barriers, and facilitating connections between modes. Those all fall under eligible ways that you could incorporate connectivity into a project. But again, I just want to emphasize that at the end of the day, it's up to the discretion of the individual that's scoring. But we just hope that this helps to kind of give a good frame of reference and root these principles and ideas in a way that you could score them meaningfully.
Thank you, Kara. Do we have anyone else?
This
Looks
is
like
Garrett from Mesa.
Go ahead.
Hey, how you doing? I just wanted to say that I support the automation through GIS for the using the census data, and I'd also, if you guys want a project for next year, you could do the same with transit, right? So we wouldn't have to look up the bus routes and see how the project fits into those. So thank you, committee and chair.
Thank you. Additional questions or comments? I'll just add that I like the change, especially on the regional. I always look at things as in if they have good local connectivity to the destinations and the local network. I think that's so important. And then at least for me, when I'm scoring something, if it does have a connection, a direct seamless connection to the regional network, even just to one additional city, to me, that's kind of like icing on the cake. But I agree that it's, we don't want to penalize areas that just don't have those connections, because otherwise, how do we ever get there? So if we can't help make those improvements. I see Marielle Brown has her hand raised. Go ahead.
Oh, thank you. I just wanted to thank MAG staff for making these changes and updates. I know that last time we had a very long conversation with lots of concerns, and I'm really happy to see the recommended changes, and I think they'll serve the region. And as a rater, I'm very excited to use this new updated methodology.
Thank you. Do we have any additional questions or comments before, because this is a possible action item? If we have no other questions or comments, I would ask for a motion.
This is Christina Goodyear. I'm happy to make the motion to approve the changes if that's the appropriate motion here.
Okay. Do you need it to say specific language, MAG staff?
Thank you, Chair. This is Kay. I would recommend making a motion for recommended approval of revisions to the design assistance evaluation process as the motion if desired.
And maybe if you can advance down to that slide, I think you have the words out on that slide so she can read it.
Yes, that would be a slide number 16.
Thank you.
Chair, I move to approve the revisions to the design assistance evaluation process.
Thank you. Do we have a second?
This is Sean
Justin
from
from
Buckeye.
Fountain Hills with a second.
Whoa, you guys are so excited. You spoke exactly at the same time.
We'll let Justin take it. Go ahead,
Okay,
Justin.
go ahead, Justin.
Second.
Thank you, Justin Weldy. Okay, there will be a roll call vote, so please indicate when your name is called. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair and members of the Active Transportation Committee. I will now begin roll call. Grant Anderson,
Aye.
Mariel Brown,
Yes.
Stephen Chang,
Aye.
Susan Conclu,
Aye.
Sasha Pachito,
Aye.
Stephen Esther,
Aye.
Allison Felice,
Aye.
Nina Arredondo,
Aye.
Greg McDowell,
Aye.
Jose Macias,
Aye.
Christine McMurdy,
Aye.
Mark Millstone,
Aye.
Sean Banda,
Aye.
Earl Ratledge,
Aye.
Patrick Sage,
Aye.
Kelsey Shatnick,
Aye.
Ward Stanford,
Aye.
Garrett Topham,
Aye.
Justin Weldy,
Aye.
Nathan Williams,
Aye.
and Robert Yabez. Okay, maybe Robert's on mute. Chair,
Oh, go ahead.
aye. I think I heard aye.
Yes.
Thank you, Robert.
Thank you.
Chair, the motion passes.
Thank you. Next item on the agenda is request for future agenda items. Do we have any requests for future items from the committee?
Christine, this isn't an agenda item, but since I'm following what's going on at the legislature on the transit side, most of these conversations are very frustrating, but I'm getting the sense that all of the work that was done by the member cities to active transportation in Prop 400 extension, this particular category, most at risk. I'm just wondering if there's any possibility that it could be rescued in some way or still be considered. I'm just not here. I'm hearing it come up from legislators in a very derogatory way, but I know that the priority really is to get the freeway and the arterials and the transit side restored as much as possible, but active doesn't seem to be coming up at all. So I'm just wondering if there is going to be any potential opportunity to try to integrate this funding back into the mix.
Okay. And I lost you, or you had faded out a little at the beginning, but you were mentioning the state legislation discussions about Prop 400E, especially around transit. So maybe as future item could be for MAG staff to return to us, just give us an update on where things are and where they think things may go.
Yeah, that's pretty good. I'm particularly interested in this particular funding category. Not to say that the others aren't just as important, but this one seems to be completely by the wayside.
Okay. And we could get, if we need to get clarification for what exactly would, how that would be worded.
If it's not going to make it, I guess we're completely reliant on the federal funding, and then local agencies would have to come up with the match. That's what my assumption would be.
Right. True. Okay. That'd be a good item to have. Any other ideas for future items? Okay, I'm not seeing any. And I haven't come up with any good ones either, but still keep in your mind one that we have out there that we'll be sending things out ahead of time will be related to bike counters and what you have in your community. If you have any, we'll send out some questions ahead of that meeting so we can do more of a roundtable discussion, and also that can assist other communities that are thinking about adding counters. Any other future items? All right. Well, if you do think of any, please let Kay know so that we can get that added to the list. We'll go on to the next item, updates from member agencies. I do have one first that today is, I believe, Robert Yabe's last meeting with the Active Transportation Committee, but you never know. So I'll let him give us the update.
Yeah, today is my last meeting, and I want to thank everybody for being so kind and listening to me in my gibberish. Chase Woolman will be replacing me. I was hoping he could log in, and you can welcome him, but you probably will do that on the next meeting. Again, thank you very much for everything. I really appreciate it. Thank you for supporting our projects, and thank you for being kind to me as well. Appreciate everything you've done. Thank you.
Thank you, Robert. We are excited for you, and I appreciate all that you've done for City of Tempe and the region, and I'll miss giving you a hard time about everything. So, but hopefully you'll stay in touch and keep us all updated on what you're doing, especially if it's fun things to make us all jealous.
I will.
Yes. I want to remind everyone about Bike Month coming up. Hopefully you've reached out to Suzanne Day at Valley Metro so that she can promote your events. Hopefully we will have a lot. I did see that there will no longer be a New Belgium Tour de Fat event in Tempe anymore. That had been planned and has now been canceled by the company. But we have all the city sponsored events. So I encourage everyone, even if you're not having one in your community, please check it out and come to one of the events in the region, and please help us share to get a great turnout. There's also an APBP event this Thursday at Cul-de-sac Tempe for those who don't happen to be on the email list for that. But there's 2 tours with limited spaces of the cul-de-sac site in Tempe for people to see how that development has happened with no parking for residents, but it does have a little bit of parking on site at the commercial areas. And it's a great, a new idea to see that will hopefully expand to more communities. But that meeting will also be important for any existing or future members of the APBP Arizona chapter. We really encourage everyone to at least even come to that so that you can look at the draft vision statement and provide your feedback even ahead of that with the survey so that we can make sure that we're reaching enough members. It's a great organization. And that also rolls into the Arizona Bike Summit involvement as well. So reach out if you're not on that list to get the registration link for that, and I can share it with Kay so that she can get that out to all of you. And if you can't make it, please get involved any way you can with APBP. And that's everything I have, but does anyone else have anything, even some updates on new projects or things happening in your community? Nobody? We'll just remind everyone who's applying for the next round of RAISE federal funds. I'm sure you're all, if you are doing it, those are due on February 28th.
Next Tuesday.
Go ahead.
No, I'm sorry.
Oh, I thought you were going to add something. I'm like, go ahead, Robert.
Yeah, it's okay. Next Tuesday, I think it's the deadline.
Yes, next Tuesday. So good luck to all that are applying on that. And then we'll remind everyone the next meeting for the Active Transportation Committee is Tuesday, March 21st at 1:00 p.m. through teleconference. And if there are no further comments or announcements, let me check my list here. If there is no further business, I will call this meeting adjourned. So speak quickly before I adjourn. Looks like no
Hey,
further
Susan.
business. Oh, go ahead.
This is Ward over in Avondale.
Mhm.
Can you expand any as to why New Belgium canceled the event? I have not heard about it and so far haven't Googled it. So curious.
My understanding is it may be related to changes over the last few years. Previously, they've always gone to the 2 brewery cities, which is Fort Collins, Colorado, and Asheville. Is it South Carolina? Sorry, North Carolina.
Yes.
Then over time, Tempe has always had a great turnout. I think their highest turnout of volunteers, it's very heavy volunteer run, and proceeds that go to those bike nonprofits. But over the years, they tried to expand to so many cities and have a paid event. Then they went back to the free event based on feedback, I believe. And so last year they were returning in person, and they kept Tempe as the 3rd city, but I just believe that it has become cost prohibitive for the company. And I can find out more to share with people because it's pretty disappointing. Everyone loves the parade, the event, the music. It's a fun thing with bikes decorated and costumes. So it's kind of a bummer. They did announce that they will work on some ideas to continue support for the bike nonprofits in the local groups. So we hope that can help those groups continue getting funding.
Yeah, I wondered. My previous office was at City of Fort Collins, and we were across the street from New Belgium. And, it was always a marvelous day when that event took place there. I have not had the opportunity to be here at Tempe, and actually didn't even know it was. And so I was curious.
Yeah, so we hope, as some people have been talking, that there may be a way for local groups to put on their own similar event. It won't be sponsored by them, but there could be ideas, which would be great, because then there's ways for people to help with planning that and spreading the word for more of just a local event. So stay tuned on that, but I'll try to find out more. I was shocked when I found out recently. So
thank you, Susan.
Yeah, it was.
This is Earl.
Uh-huh.
The one thing that is nice is that New Belgium did agree that they would make a donation to each of those groups this year.
Okay, then that must have been what I saw.
Yeah,
That's cool.
So they are making a group, and it was like you said, that they really wanted to focus in the communities where their company is.
Yeah. That's good. I always knew that they were, huge supporters of alternative modes, especially biking.
Yeah.
And so that's good to know.
I know that one year in the past, New Belgium sponsored the party part, but didn't do a bike ride. And then local group Teabag and some others came together and did put together a ride. So I'm hoping, as well as you, that this will go forward in the future.
Yeah.
Yeah. And its change can be okay. Maybe it'll be more fun if it's a local event only put on that way. So stay tuned.
Thanks, everybody.
This is Garrett. I've got to imagine just the transit of all their equipment alone would make it not cost prohibitive. Like if they stay with where they have breweries, then they can keep all their equipment there. All their people are housed there. So
that makes sense, because
for
their
a company
staff
that's trying to be car free and low footprint, imagine the amount of semi trucks that have to come to haul all that stuff down here. So
true.
Yeah,
and they do have paid
unfortunate.
staff. They do have paid staff that they would send along with all of that. So yeah, it's a lot. And if I recall, the proceeds decreased over the years. It used to be much higher. I mean, that just has to do with the attendance and the sales they do.
Do you recall how much the nonprofits got? Because they're giving 10,000 this year.
I don't. I can find out, because it would be great to update everyone on that, even people who haven't been involved. I know years past, I remember seeing something like $69,000 for the day, split between 3 to 4 nonprofits, and that had come down a lot. in the
Yeah,
recent years.
I was worried though, it's still probably not as low as 10. 10's nice, but it's not probably what people are counting on. So
Yeah, I'm just
hopefully the
yeah.
local community, we can do some other fundraisers and stuff.
I
So.
hope so. And we'll be looking for volunteers, I'm sure, if it if that comes to fruition. So
When are we ever going to ride our silly bikes if we don't have Tour de Fat?
exactly. That's what I said.
That's really
Well,
the
I guess
saddest part of it.
I know. And a lot of neighbors turn out for the parade. I mean, it's fun. So and some people just come to watch. So we'll create something. It may take some time to really get it rolled out, but at least we have experienced groups who have been involved for so many years on the local end of it. And I think they'll be able to do it.
They should worry because, with the experience that we have here with Goozy and the whole crew, one of the local breweries could probably outdo them. So
yeah, you never know. It could happen.
Yeah.
So don't get rid of your silly bikes if you have any.
Yeah, I wonder if also since Kim had sold the company to a larger business entity, is maybe the corporate things happening.
Yeah, it's so hard to know.
Oh, I didn't know that. That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Because I was going to say, hey, how come we don't have like a Tour de Fat with Four Peaks? Oh, yeah, because they're Anheuser-Busch.
Yeah, but there's still some local ones that are not owned by one of those bigger groups. So you just
Pedal House would make sense, wouldn't it?
Yeah. So if there does come something like planning meetings, we will be sure to share that out for anyone who would be interested.
Sounds good.
Thank you.
Fun discussion.
Also, hey,
thank you.
Touch base with me if you need any help with the counters for
counters.
Yeah,
I will. Well, Kay will send something out to all of the members with the questions, and then anyone that has information, they'll prepare that ahead of time, and that way we have that for the meeting. But definitely, some of us can talk offline on the best questions to ask, so that we have as much as we need ahead of the Active Transportation Committee meeting. So we really want to share the information, including what works well, the challenges everyone has, and that type of thing.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anything else? Anyone? All right. Well, I appreciate everyone's time. We got this meeting done pretty quickly. With no further business, this meeting of the MAG Active Transportation Committee is adjourned at 1:47 p.m. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.